From amateur caretakers to widely acclaimed naturalists whose passion took them all over the world, here are 9 attacked animal lovers. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to They Will Kill You. Hit the like button and request any topics you'd like to learn about in the comments section below. Number 9. Sir David Attenborough. When asked on the Graham Norton show what his closest brush with death was, Sir David Attenborough spoke of a rhinoceros attack that took place in East Africa. While driving in a Land Rover along with a local big game expert, Attenborough heard a strange tapping sound like footsteps. The expert said they'd just been charged by a RHINO with a dummy charge and that there wasn't much to worry about. They then heard the same sound again, only this time with the RHINO ramming its horns into the back of the Land Rover. It lifted the back of the vehicle off the ground and started violently shaking it. It was at this time that Sir David Attenborough said he truly felt in danger. Luckily, the RHINO gave up the charge and both of the men were unharmed. Number 8. Florence Lenahan. On her property in Delaware, Ohio, 74-year-old Florence Lenahan cared for many animals, including cows, horses, cats, dogs, and even llamas. In fact, her favorite pet was a llama called Baby Doll. Lenahan had bottle-fed Baby Doll from she was young, and the two of them appeared to be inseparable. One day, when Lenahan's friend, Kevin Scott, came to visit, he found her lying on the ground, unconscious. It was later discovered that while running to greet Florence, Baby Doll had slipped on the wet grass, causing her to collide with Lenahan. As she fell, her head hit the concrete, and she later succumbed to her injuries. Scott, with the help of the Delaware Humane Society, vowed to find new homes for all the animals on Lenahan's property. Number 7. Vitaly Nikolayenko. Vitaly Nikolayenko, a Russian self-educated naturalist and photographer, had such a deep fascination for the brown bears of the Kamchatka Peninsula that he spent more than 33 years living with them. During this time, he wrote hundreds of journals and walked roughly 620 miles each year through Kamchatka's remote coastal plains and river valleys. His massive body of work is considered crucial when it comes to understanding the behavior of brown bears. For 20 years, he followed a very large male that he named Dobrynya. They had developed such a bond that the animal would often curl up and sleep only several feet from Nikolayenko. Unfortunately, his love for these creatures ultimately led to his demise. In December 2003, he spent longer than planned in the wilderness. When a helicopter arrived to pick him up, Nikolayenko couldn't be found. His body was discovered in January 2004. A bear paw print and an empty can of orange pepper spray, which he most likely used to defend himself, were found near the body. Number 6. Patricia Wyman. Canadian wildlife biologist Patricia Wyman was excited about her new job at the Wolf Centre in Ontario's Haliburton Forest and Wildlife Reserve. She started work in April 1996, but the pack she was assigned to consisted of 5 wolves, not yet socialized with humans. She went to feed them alone and later that day expressed concerns to her fiancé regarding the aggressive behavior of one of the males, but didn't share her concerns with the park's more experienced staff. On April 18th, 2 employees found her body in the wolf enclosure. Her clothing completely torn with strips strewn around her body. Some flesh was missing from the extremities, and there were multiple puncture marks on Wyman's body. She was killed on the 3rd day of her employment. At the order of the coroner, the wolves were put down and examined for rabies, but results came back negative. Number 5. Ali Khan Samsudin. In Malaysia, Ali Khan Samsudin was known as the Snake King. His love of snakes even earned him a place in the Guinness Book of Records. In the early 90s, Samsudin lived with 400 cobras in a small room for 12 hours a day, for almost 2 months. He also became known as the Scorpion King, when for 21 days he lived in a glass enclosure with 6,000 venomous scorpions. Samsudin was bitten many times throughout his life by snakes, but the fatal bite came in 2006 by a king cobra. He was taken to the hospital but died before he could receive treatment for the bite. Number 4. Carlos Carvalho. Award-winning South African filmmaker Carlos Carvalho was killed by a giraffe he was filming on a farm about 40 miles from Johannesburg. The giraffe, named Gerald, reportedly seemed curious when Carvalho and his crew first approached it to start filming. While Carvalho was looking through the camera's eyepiece, the animal swung its neck, hitting the filmmaker on the head. He was sent flying several feet into the air. The 47-year-old later died from complications associated with head trauma. A spokesman for the farm claimed that Carvalho had ignored safety regulations about approaching the animal. They added that he was authorized to film and that he'd gone off on his own trying to get better shots. The farm decided Gerald wasn't at fault and wouldn't be putting him down. Number 3. Raw. Raw has been described as the most dangerous film ever made. After Noel Marshall and Tippi Hedren finished filming together in Africa in 1969, they stumbled upon an abandoned plantation house overrun by a pride of lions. This discovery became the inspiration for Raw. The film is about a family attacked by predatory jungle animals at the home of their keeper. Hedren was an animal rights activist and hoped that the film would raise concerns regarding the dwindling population of endangered big cats on the African continent. Raw co-starred Hedren and her real-life daughter, Melanie Griffith, as well as Marshall and his 2 real-life sons, John and Jerry, shot on location at Marshall's private ranch in Acton, California. Around 150 untrained leopards, lions, tigers, cheetahs, and other big cats, as well as some ill-tempered elephants, were used in the film. More than 70 cast and crew were injured during production, some to life-threatening degrees. A cinematographer needed 220 stitches after being scalped by a lion. Hedren needed 38 stitches after being bit in the neck by a lion, an incident seen in the film. She also fractured her leg after an elephant threw her off its back. Melanie Griffith needed 50 stitches to her face after she was mauled by a lion, while Noel Marshall was attacked so many times that he developed gangrene. The final cut of Raw featured real blood on screen because much of the footage from the injuries ended up being used. After a production period of over 11 years, with Hedren and Marshall, who were married at the time, sinking millions of their own money into it, Raw was ultimately a financial failure. Number 2. Grizzly Man. For 13 seasons, bear enthusiast and documentary filmmaker Timothy Treadwell lived amongst the grizzly bears of Katmai National Park in Alaska. In 2003, at the end of Treadwell's 13th season, he and his girlfriend, Amy Hugenard, were killed and almost fully consumed by a brown bear. When an air taxi pilot arrived at their campsite to pick them up, a large grizzly bear was on site, but the couple were nowhere to be found. The park rangers were called in, and Hugenard's partial remains were discovered, buried under dirt and twigs near the collapsed tents. Treadwell's disfigured head, right forearm and hand, as well as part of his spine, were found near the camp. The park rangers were forced to kill the grizzly protecting the site in order to recover their remains. They also found a video camera that had been operating during the attack. The tape was blank, but the camera did record the sound of their agonized screams as they're being mauled to death. The incident, as well as Treadwell's life and work, are the subject of Werner Herzog's critically acclaimed 2005 film, Grizzly Man. Number 1. Steve Irwin. Also known as the Crocodile Hunter, Steve Irwin was internationally famous for his extreme stunts, often involving dangerous animals such as crocodiles or venomous snakes and spiders. The Australian zookeeper and conservationist rose to worldwide recognition with television shows like Croc Files, The Crocodile Hunter, or The Crocodile Hunter Diaries, which he would co-host with his wife Terry. Steve Irwin's energetic and exuberant presented style, his broad Australian accent and signature catchphrase, "Crikey," made him a beloved television personality. Irwin's work also earned him the praise of highly respected fellow naturalists like Sir David Attenborough. On September 4, 2006, Steve Irwin was on location at BATT Reef, Queensland, filming for the documentary series Ocean's Deadliest. While there, Irwin approached a stingray with an approximate span of 6.5 feet. He was trying to film it swimming away to gather footage for his daughter's television program. As he came up behind it, the stingray suddenly began stabbing wildly with its tail. Irwin's cameraman was the only witness to the attack, and according to him, the stingray delivered hundreds of strikes in only a few seconds. Unfortunately, one of the barbs pierced Irwin's heart, causing him to bleed to death. It's been described as the first and only stingray fatality captured on video. Queensland police viewed the footage as part of their investigation, but subsequently destroyed all copies of it as per the request of Steve Irwin's family.